everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of Sampson Properties. We are back. It's 2025, and what are we talking about today?
Today we are talking about what we kind of did over the holidays, right? We're recapping, so you're going to hear about it, and it's going to be sort of a case study of a retiree, single retiree moving into our area and how we go about getting them here.
That's right. All right, so here we go.
Okay, so here's your 2025. Welcome to your new year. And how was your ringing in? My
ringing in was great.
Yes.
I actually made it for the New Year's kiss this year as we escorted neighbors home. And
thanks to one lovely neighbor who came down the street. Kelly, Sean's looking for you.
So I got in trouble last year because we have a neighborhood New Year's party, and this one went home early and this one stayed at the party, and we rang in the New Year separately for the first time in 25 years. Yes. So we had to make sure we were together this year, and we were kind of separated at like 12:59. I couldn't get to her, so I sent somebody out to find her.
But it was so romantic because you were held up, and then you're like, Kelly, get over here, just as another person's timer was going off, and you're like, kiss me.
It was great.
It was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, so it was great ringing in the New Year. Your mom was in
with
town.
Our friends. Yes, I love that.
Yes, thank you, neighbors, for a fantastic party and fireworks show.
Per usual.
Yep, that's right.
Yes, and my mom was here.
Yep.
And she's actually going to be our case study because we learned very, very recently that my mom is going to be moving up here within the next 9 to 12 months.
Yep. From Florida.
So, okay, this is going to be, let's go ahead and break into it, right?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, so she's a single retiree with benefits from out of state, right?
Yep.
That matters because that out of state is Florida, and this area is Northern Virginia.
Not Florida budget.
It's not Florida budget. So we're bringing a smaller set income into an area where she would have to make some adjustments. So how did we go about this?
Well, first thing we did, we need to figure out, she gave us a radius that she wanted to be within 2 hours of us. Talk about a radius.
And here's what I said. I'm like, Mom, that's great. Like, I love the space.
Yeah.
But, like, if you needed me, I don't have a job I can leave because if you know what real estate is like, you cannot take long times and days off.
That's right.
So I'm like, we need to kind of get you.
So we narrowed that
closer
down. We gave her the rule of an hour, but we ended up probably within about 30 to 45 minutes of us.
Yeah.
She wanted to stay in Virginia, not going to Maryland or DC.
Yes.
And so that gave us, kind of a semicircle to look in.
She considered Maryland, but after looking at a lot of important details, decided against it, and I'm glad about that.
Mine too.
Yeah.
So what we did was we took her, we figured out there are certain lifestyles to certain areas. So for example, Arlington, the downtown Arlington feel has a different feel than the Alexandria Old Town feel, or the Alexandria condo scene, or the Manassas, or the Lake Occoquan, or...
Oh man, you beat me to the punch, okay? So this is why, what I really wanted to hit on is why whenever we try to get to know you personally, whenever you're just shopping, is we know the areas to take you, which is, if you have an agent who focuses and they're like the neighborhood expert, they kind of really know just that neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
But so we like to try to know all of the different neighborhoods. Now, obviously, it's my mother, so I knew her. I didn't have to spend a whole lot of time like prying into what she likes to do on the weekends because I knew it. But we did, by design, start off in Alexandria and Arlington. With her budget, it was more condos. And, she kind of, there were a lot of things like where I said, Mom, you will not live here. And there were things where she said, Kelly, I will not live here.
Yeah, that's right.
We did find a penthouse, remember, in Alexandria that she really, really liked. It was within her budget, and she said, okay, so far this is the one. Yeah. And I told her, what did I say, Sean? What did I say?
Mama, listen to me.
I said,
I don't know
tomorrow.
what you said.
You were right there. You just never listened to me. I said, tomorrow. That's great. Like, I'm glad we found something. But tomorrow, I'm going to take you.
Oh, yes.
Where did I want to take her? You already said it.
To the Occoquan area.
Yes.
Yes. And Manassas. We went down to Old Town Manassas and historic.
We did.
Yeah.
So I kind of eased her. So I showed her this. It's close to DC and it's this close to me and all of that. And then she's like, well, I don't know. What did she kept saying? You're going to take me to Okinawa? No, Mom, we'll see. So I saved it for the whole next day, and I took her to the Occoquan and like historic part at Woodbridge, right? Because knowing her, I know this was going to be totally her vibe, and it was. She fell in love, right? So what she fell in love with, as any of you who've been there know, is the historic part.
Yep.
And we have been able to find that little sweet spot for other people that's right there, affordable, and it's beautiful and wonderful. So that's on my radar. When I took her out and I showed her a little bit beyond the Occoquan, interest waned.
Yeah.
Significantly.
So we started to get the feel for her that she is more of the historic versus the metro feel, like, you know, Clarendon, Roslyn. She wants more historic settings.
If you were my dad and the same thing was going on, I would take you to Roslyn.
Heck yeah.
I would take you to Roslyn.
Heck yeah, I love it. The walkability.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's her feel. And as an example of this, she absolutely adores New Orleans.
Oh my God.
New Orleans is history.
Yes.
It is old. It is not
She wants to go and sit at these quaint little places and get into conversations with people around her, the staff and everybody. That's my mom's like brand soul essence. Like that is what she is all about. So after we learned where the confines of where she'd want to be within the Occoquan area, she didn't want to go too far into Woodbridge. Then we had the idea of Leesburg.
Yep. So they did some days without me, so I can't remember the order of how we did this.
She loved Leesburg for the same reason. And isn't that where we ate at the Voodoo Brothers?
No, that was Manassas.
Was that Manassas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Manassas,
we went to Haymarket and she didn't fall in love with that.
She was not wild about Haymarket.
Yeah.
Okay, that was in Manassas? Just what I know. Okay, so I'm all about the food. I kind of got lost of where I was. If you guys, was it Voodoo Brothers?
It was Voodoo something.
I even started following them on something because
it was New Orleans style food.
We sat down and we were like, okay, we go to New Orleans all the time, especially when we lived there. Like, we know the food. Okay, so tell us about your restaurant. And they said it was local, and we're thinking, oh, whatever, right? No sirree.
Great food.
They did it, like even the collard greens.
The collard greens. That feeds your soul kind of collard greens.
It was, please go there.
Yep.
Do not let them ever go out of business.
Yep.
I think I'll cry.
It's in historic or the Old Town Manassas area.
Yes.
And it's great. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so.
But they, can I critique?
Yeah, go ahead.
Their paint color could be different on the inside. It's a little too.
It's all about the feel.
The vibe was not right.
Yeah, it didn't feel no.
Like the colors were great. Go deeper.
Well,
Think about it.
The colors were commercial New Orleans.
Yes.
They were Louisiana state.
Yeah,
LSU,
they're Bourbon Street in the tourist shops, right? Go to the grunge, man. Act like it's had 150 years of vomit.
Was it Royal Street or the?
Go to Frenchman. Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
I love about that restaurant. So we took her. We went. Long story short, we took her and we went.
I think that ship has sailed, my lord.
That's right. We took her to all these different areas, and as we were going through, the whole goal was to start crossing off areas.
Yes.
At the end of the week. Go ahead.
Okay, but also crossing off areas for sure, to be sure, but also getting insights into the areas that if that little diamond did show its face, we knew exactly what to jump on, right?
Yep.
So these areas were not crossed off, right? So historic Occoquan is a diamond that if it came up, great.
Yeah.
The downtown Leesburg, also the diamond. But now to what you're saying, where did we settle on?
So we did rule out Alexandria, Arlington. Even Old Town was not her vibe.
Well, because we have to keep budget in mind too, right?
Yeah.
If she had probably retirement from this area or California, she would probably
Yep.
very much love Old Town, right?
Yep.
So we have to take all these factors into consideration.
Yep.
Whenever we're
Yep. So we ended up in Herndon, actually.
Herndon/Reston.
Yeah, yeah.
I love these areas for that kind of budget. I love it. I love it for higher and lower budgets.
They're a lot closer to us. Just kidding.
Now
Grandma.
she feels the same way about that we do.
Yeah, she does.
Okay.
She lived 20 minutes from us in Florida, and you know, we all had our plenty of space.
Well, should I talk about the traffic again?
No, you shouldn't. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
You're right. I shouldn't.
So long story short, there's a
You
method.
said that already. And
Okay. So in summary,
Better.
there's a method to the madness, and part of that method is looking at things you don't want, so we can rule those things out.
Yes.
And then identify what you do want. Then we can deep dive. Kelly is great at looking and keeping an eye out for that diamond in the rough.
That is like one of my very favorite things to do.
When we're working with buyers specifically and they know a neighborhood they want, one of my favorite
Yes.
things is to get in there and fish and try to find off-market properties.
Yes.
So a lot of times we try to narrow it down
Yeah.
as much as we can. We're putting that effort in, and
That's
we can actually get those searches done.
Sean and I have our very own diamonds that we look for that will work when we're total empty nesters.
That's true.
Right?
That's very
So,
true. Yeah.
oh my God, I'm so excited. No, I'm not.
No, we're not. We're not rushing
I don't
the
want
kids
them
out.
out of that.
But when it
Right.
happens, we'll be happy.
Not.
Okay. All right. Anything else about this this search?
Not about this.
All right. So let's dive into the market report. We have been gone for what, almost 3 weeks, 4 weeks now. So we're gonna have quite a gap here. But the market's been pretty active.
But what about the interest rates? We're going to get into that with Tatiana in a little bit because.
Yep, we'll get caught up with her as well.
Yes.
All right, so let's dive into the market report here. Let me pull my handy dandy computer over here. And
Okay, everybody, it's time for this week's market snapshot.
yes! Woo! Okay, the first one in 2025. Here we go. All right, Kel, what are we doing here?
Okay, so we're going to take a look at buyer activity and seller activity in the Northern Virginia real estate market in the last 7 days. The black squiggly line there, that's going to be your buyer activity. That's how many homes went under contract. And then the blue line that's all up and down is, wowee, I didn't see that before I saw this, is the seller activity. That's the new homes that came on the market in the last 7 days.
Yep, that's right. Okay, so what has happened? So it's been, the dots here on this graph, you can see this is the last 7 days. We have not done this report for about 3 weeks now. So
I'm trying to keep my glasses glare from being weird. Just distract me.
Last time you guys probably saw this was when we were right here. So what has generally been happening is we've been seeing a decrease in market activity that's been driven by a decrease in inventory. We have seen the last couple weeks, we're starting to see multiple offers happen again. We're starting to see major bid ups, people losing out on having the option for concessions, or not concessions, contingencies.
Yeah.
We've had a buyer that's looked at 2 different properties and been a multi-offer and lost out on both of them.
With good offers.
Great
right?
offers, but they wanted an inspection contingency, and sometimes that's the deal breaker if somebody else is willing to waive it.
Right.
So the market is starting to pick back up, and you can see again that our decrease in activity has been fed by the decrease in inventory. But this last 7 days, we had an increase of 140% of inventory over last week.
You don't say.
Yeah, so last week we went up this much, this week we jumped up this much. So with that,
thank God, because we really needed it.
we did. And so what that did was with the buyer activity, which has been kind of trailing it, buyer activity only had time to increase just a little bit. So next week we'll likely see this buyer activity spike. If inventory continues to spike, then we'll begin this progressive movement up.
And we're experiencing that preliminary action in the amount of showings we have requested.
Yeah,
this
showings,
week. More showings for agents turn into more offers, turn into more contracts, which is that black squiggly line.
That's a really good point. So you're welcome, Kel. From a buyer's perspective, buyers have been out of town for the last 3 weeks, and
then we've had a snow week.
And we had a snow week, and the fact that there's been so much activity even during the time of vacation. Now that we're coming back to the time of normalcy and hopefully the road's getting normal, we should see that activity really picking up. So what this translates to with regards to a seller's market versus a buyer's market, seller's market, again, that's the situation where the seller is pretty much in control. There's more demand than there is supply. We did dip a little bit into a buyer's market this week, but that's only because the inventory spiked so high and the buyers haven't had time to buy those.
But wait, may I say that looks like it's on the normal market line. Is that dip actually into the buyer's market? Because I don't want anybody to misunderstand. See that little normal market line? Yeah, that's normal.
That's normal. Even, that's right. I said into the buyer's market because that little bit right there went under. But you're right. It's a normal market.
I love it when I'm right.
You are.
Even when I'm not, when you say I am, that is super cute.
And this does not feel like a normal market out there because, again, the buyer activity is just kind of starting to fire. So what's likely going to happen next week, again, is we should see an increase here because we have been trending up for the last 3 months. And we expect as we go into this early spring market that it's just going to continue to do that. So buyers, get yourself fully pre-approved, get ready, get everything in a row, get your inspector, get everything that you need to move quickly and aggressively into the market.
Yes.
Sellers, now's the time. The last right into the winter into the holidays, I can understand why you maybe sat back a little bit, but now's the time to get in the market because the buyers are there.
Yep. And you're gonna whine and cry about what the interest rates are doing. So tune in for Tatiana next, and we're gonna talk to you about why we gotta just dry up those tears, put on your big girl panties and buck up buttercup and get in the game.
All right, off to the Mortgage Minute. See you guys next week.
Hey everybody, it is time for our weekly Mortgage Minute with Tatiana, I believe, Lopez from Prosperity Home Mortgage. It's been a while. Hello.
Hey, Tatiana.
Hello. Happy 2025.
That's right. First one of the year. All right, ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so everybody bear with us. We have a new camera and it kind of follows us as we move. It follows Kelly. Look at when she moves. So we're off center here. We're trying to figure out how that works. So just bear with us on that.
Okay, so first, I want to hear about the interest rates because I see no hat on you, but I feel like you should have a hat in particular from at least the last time we talked, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Tell us, my friend, what is going on?
Will be a naughty hat.
Happy
Did
cat.
you say naughty cat?
And cat. Okay, so let me. No technical difficulties. Wait. Okay. Can you see?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the interest rate increased for the week from January 3rd to 9th. Actually, they did go up in December despite the Fed cutting the interest rates. And there are a couple of reasons why it happened. First, the market is waiting to see how Trump's second term will impact the U.S. economy and the housing market. And the second, mortgage rates tend to follow the 10-year Treasury yield, which has been rising in the past last month. So, and the third is it looks like the Fed is not gonna cut rates in January. So all that has negative effect on the mortgage rate. So they did go up 7.11% for conforming. Jumbo is a little bit better. It's at 7%. 15-year fixed conforming is at 7.25. Surprisingly, it's higher than 30-year fixed, and FHA 6.625. So yeah, the rates are rising right now. We'll see what happens. I guess everybody's waiting for inauguration and then what's gonna happen after that. But projections for this year in general, the rates are gonna be in 6%, which is lower than right now. So hopefully that's gonna be that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
See.
It's so tough to call with all the question marks in the air with a
new administration.
A new administration and everything. I mean, it's like it's impossible to call that.
Well, and you bring up a good point, and I think it's important that people stop trying to call it because as they're sitting on the sidelines waiting for the rates to do what they're going to do, we're seeing the market activity start to pick up, multiple offers, high bidding again. So it's just costing people money to sit there.
That's right. That's what's not hard to call is the housing prices in our area going up.
Yeah. So get
And
it
I
now.
see the actually applications, number of applications went up after the new year. I see more activities. I'm busy with new applications and contracts, people writing contracts. So I would say just like we've been preaching for a while, right? Marry the house, date the rates. We'll refinance.
That's right.
Exactly right.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. And on our end, we're seeing the buyer activity. I'm just kind of slowly easing off the screen. We're seeing our buyer activity increase, and it's been kind of a little bit of a lull over the last 2 or 3 weeks, but now it's just been starting to pick back up again. So, so basically, stop trying to play the rate game and get out there. And if you want to buy, you need to go ahead and do it because it's costing you money to wait.
Yeah, you can always refinance.
That's right.
By the end of the video, we'll see only your right year or right.
But this new camera has a crush on her. It follows her everywhere.
Well,
see, look, now it's focused. Okay, anyway,
it's fine.
All right. Okay, we have an issue that came up in our mastermind about 3 weeks ago, and we haven't done a market report since then. But when we moved up here from Florida was going through a horrible issue with wind mitigations and roofs, and buyers had to buy houses and get insurance, and insurance companies would not insure those houses unless the roof was new. From my understanding, we haven't come across it in one of our deals yet, but from my understanding, there are more and more buyers that are having difficulty getting insurance based on age of roof here in Northern Virginia.
And then that goes into, we all know that their mortgage is only going to be approved once they have that homeowner's insurance in place. So we were hoping you could shed some light on all of this.
Yeah, especially for buyers that waive their finance contingency because they're well qualified, but then they can't get insurance. Like, how do we play that? How does that play out? So what say you, oh goddess of lending?
Yes.
Don't do that to our camera. It's going to go all crazy.
It's true. I've seen more and more issues coming up with roof problems because not roof problems, but the problem of roofs being older than certain age. And I think it varies from carrier to carrier. Some say 10 years, some 15, some 20 years. But definitely when they're getting the financing, the buyers getting the mortgage, it's going to be a requirement for them to have an insurance. And few things happens when they encounter issue like this or any other issues with insuring the property is, first of all, if they can even find the carrier, right? Or what the premium is going to be, or what's deductible is going to be, because they can opt in for super high deductible, but the lenders also have some guidelines on that deductible cannot exceed certain percentage or certain amount, because if your deductible is $20,000, that's too much, right? You're gonna have hardship of paying the mortgage. So my advice is for buyers to jump onto getting the insurance as soon as possible. And I see people, nothing wrong with shopping for insurance, but they shop a lot and for a long time. It takes them a very long time to set up the policy, and then they might run into timing issue that, okay, we cannot find the carrier and we're supposed to settle soon, or contingency expires. And financing contingency, part of, even if you get commitment letter, it's gonna be it's gonna be contingent commitment
that's a condition. A condition, right? For
that says you need to get appraisal done, you need to set up insurance, right? So, and if you're not able to get insurance, then you're not gonna be able to get a mortgage. Or
that's a really good point. And
it makes me wonder if even like when we have buyers get, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but even when we have buyers get fully pre-approved with you, and that's when we're talking about when we waive that finance contingency, it makes me wonder, should we should we consider adding an addendum that even if the finance contingency is waived, there is a contingency on them
Getting
obtaining
insurance.
homeowners insurance, right? I don't know. It's something that,
Yeah,
have you
because
seen anything like that in any of your contracts
I
yet?
have not seen that, but I'm thinking that, you know how sometimes you guys do pre-home inspection? Maybe just let your insurance guy to run a quote for this property and see what
that's
do you
a
see? Is it gonna be problematic to get a coverage
Yeah.
or not? And also important is like how much is it gonna be? Because sometimes the person is pre-approved for a certain amount and they at the top of their budget, because we calculate that to income ratio, right? We see what the monthly payment is going to be comparing to their income, and the percentage cannot exceed certain percent. So if sometimes I've seen that they get really high premium, and it kicks them out of that acceptable debt to
Yeah.
income ratio. And it's not only for roofs. I think it would be a good practice to do for everyone, because we don't know why this person might get higher premium than someone else. Maybe
Okay.
they had previous claims. Maybe their credit is not as good, and acceptable for the carrier. That's why they will get a higher premium, or more,
maybe
maybe
the house had previous claims. The house has a
Right.
history of claims or something.
or the house itself,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Or the house is located in a place where it's problematic, or it's known for some issues, or
Yeah.
the roof problem, or maybe roof is new but it's not acceptable, and maybe it's flat, or it's
Right.
whatever the little perks and
Yeah.
guidelines that carriers have. We
Yeah.
don't know them all, right? And we don't
Yeah.
want to learn hard way. So my advice is to maybe run a quote from insurance company ahead of time,
Yeah.
but also set it up as soon as possible. Don't wait until the last moment.
I think that's an excellent idea, because I know with even in our experience, our roof when we bought our house, it was a cedar shake, and not all insurance carriers would cover cedar shake. And then we ended up replacing it with a metal roof, and we had no problem getting people to cover that. But because we had a claim because we had a storm damage, then our rates went up. So so that all makes sense.
Okay.
We should have that done.
That needs to be a part of it. And the
Yeah.
challenge in Virginia is there's no permit required for a roof. So it's really like if the insurance company sends an inspector out, it's their opinion on the age of the roof, because there's no, unless the seller has a receipt showing when it was replaced, there's no proof of age of roof.
Yes.
So that's
your
another,
roof receipts.
keep your roof receipts. So I think the summary of this is we need to make sure that it's a protocol to really advise our clients, advise our sellers, first of all, that this could be an issue, so that if somebody comes across with an addendum, that they understand, okay, we need to make sure they can get insurance. But number two is really get our buyers to get on that insurance as soon as that offer is ratified, to make that one of the first things they do.
Yeah.
Because that could be a risk.
Okay. Even if they're already pre-approved. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, that was enlightening.
Thanks.
More work.
Yeah.
We need to keep roofs on our heads for 2025, right?
That's right.
That's
right. And in reality, in Florida, when we sold our house, the buyers could not get insurance. Our roof was only 10 years old.
Yeah.
But the buyers could not get insurance because in Florida, we've got all the wind mitigation and hurricane issues, and the insurance companies were cracking down.
Yeah.
So we had to replace the roof to keep the buyer in the contract, or any future buyer. That's a thing for sailors. If there's, that's right.
I was trying to be a sailor. I don't know how to do that.
If there's an issue with a roof with one buyer, the seller has to keep in mind that that's likely going to be an issue for any buyer coming to the property. So it needs to be addressed. Stop playing with the camera. All right.
Yes, you're right.
Okay.
I was distracted.
Go back and ignore her and pay attention to that wisdom.
It was very wise.
Yes. Okay. All right. Anything else for us?
No, that's it. I'll see you next Friday.
That's right. If anybody needs to get in touch with you, how do they do it?
Call me 571-245-3699. 3,000.
Get that number this time?
Yes, I'm okay. Yes. Goodbye, everybody.